I'm Lance Lambert. Thanks for tuning in to the Vintage Vehicle Show. We are in Port Orchard, Washington at the Cruz Car Show. This is an annual show put on by the Saints Car Club. Great car club, great car show. You are going to do what you do every week. You're going to see some great cars, hear some great music, meet some great people. So do what I always tell you to do. Just kick back, relax, and enjoy the show. Standing here with John KINCL, a gentleman who's a member of the Saints Car Club, one of the big wheels in the car club. But
Right.
Before we talk about your car, tell us a little bit about the Saints Car Club.
Saints Car Club started in 1951. We've got probably 6-7 original members in the club from the original group. They disbanded about 1964, then we started up again in 95. And we got 65 members.
Well, you're kind of an institution in the Northwest for a multitude of reasons, but one of them is you have this car, your 50 Dodge, that I think you've had a really long time.
Yeah, I picked up in 1992 out of West Seattle. It was all stock, restored. Guy I got it from never drove it and had about 1,600 miles on a total restoration. I gave him $1,800 for it, and the day I drove it away, he asked me what I was going to do with it, and I said, frankly, I'm going to drive the piss out of it. Put 22,000 miles on it the first year I had it, and I've redone it a couple times. It's going on 309,000 miles now.
309,000.
Yeah, I use it in my business. So
you're worthy of some kind of really long distance award.
I guess, you know, I drive it. It's been rained on, snowed on, sunshined. I just got back from going up Vancouver Island for Deuce Days, covered that, did that show, ran up and down the island. I probably put 3,000 miles on it the last month and a half.
What all have you done to it? It has the kind of 50s, 60s mild custom look to it.
Yeah, everything on the car is nothing newer than 1959 on the outside. Caddy taillights, Chevy bumper, Chevy grill, Merc grill shell. I subframed it with an S10 subframe, small block Chevy, 350, 8-inch Ford rear end. Back bumpers off a Pontiac that's been modified, and Then the back trunk lid's a DeSoto. That's how I Frenched in the license plate. Works great that way.
A lot of changes, and the color combination is interesting.
Yeah, it's a 2002 GMC truck cranberry pearl with silver Chrysler on the top, and then little metal flake in it.
A 50 Dodge is a car you hardly ever see. Very, very rare. How did you decide this was the one for you?
It was advertised in the Seattle Times. It was the best price for the deal at the time, and it was all one color. My wife loved it. So I've been driving it ever since.
Well, John, thank you very much for being on the Vintage Vehicle Show, and thanks for helping us get out here to the show here, and all my best to the Saints Car Club.
Thank you.
All right. Larry Hutchinson, this is an absolutely gorgeous 1941 Studebaker, maybe the best I've ever seen, and it is so good looking that you are the featured car here at the car show. Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. It makes me very, very proud.
How did this come into your ownership? What have you done to it? What's the history of the car?
I bought it from an individual in Kashmir, Washington, which I live about 10 or 15 miles from Kashmir in Wenatchee. And I'd been looking for one for quite a few years. And I asked a friend when I moved over there if he knew of one around. And he told me, yeah, I think there's one available. And so we checked and found out this was the car and looked at it. And I thought, yeah, okay, it's like what I want. And so then we went from there and drove it with the 6-cylinder in it for a year. We had to do a few things because it had been sitting for a while. And then pulled it all down and stuffed the V8 in it and changed the suspension front and rear and four-wheel disc brakes and the 700 and all the good stuff you need to do to make it drive straight, stop quick, go fast, within reason. And just enjoy the car. Air, heat, all that good stuff.
So details on the running gear,
It is now runs about 440 horse, 350 cubic inch Chevy, running a 700 R4, running a Ford Curry 9-inch, 350 gears, posi, 31 spline axle. We changed the suspension in the rear, put sway bar in. Just a fun car to drive.
It's such a unique car. Does the Studebaker community embrace this car since it's not bone stock? What kind of reaction are you getting from those?
Years ago, it was really tough because I've had Studebakers for a few years. But the purists really didn't like us to modify the cars. And I think that's with any purist on a particular car, whether it be a Ford Chev or what. I think they've now grown to the idea that the more the cars out there and can be appreciated, that's okay. And that's what I think it's gone to now. I might be still in left field, I don't know, but that's what I think.
Being the featured car here, is that kind of like being a rock star today?
I don't know, I've never been in this position before.
Well, I'm a recent Studebaker purchaser. I have a 50 Studebaker, so we're in the same fraternity. So in closing, we have to do, don't look now because this is a secret. Don't you look, we're going to do the secret Studebaker handshake. This is only for members of people. All right,
really?
okay, yeah, here we go. Okay, turn your back.
I'll turn my back.
Okay, there you go. Good enough. Thank you, Larry.
I've never done that
Yeah.
handshake before.
Dan AHRENS, I love unusual cars. I love orphan cars. I really like Edsels. I really like station wagons. I really like 58 Edsels. In my eyes, you have knocked this out of the ballpark. Tell me about your car.
Yeah. Well, about 6 years ago, I was working for a friend of mine doing a remodel job. Saw it in the back of his garage and knew I just had to have it. I mean, one, it was an Edsel, so it was unique. I wanted something that was unique that I could actually still get parts for. And Edsel does that perfectly because it's all forward running gear. But the Edsel designers set out to make something unique that you could recognize from a block away, and they really accomplished it with a 58 Edsel. And then I like the wagon because kind of like a big 3D postcard from the past. You know, it reminds you of the time that threw all the junk in the back, packed the family in, and you went out camping or out to the beach or whatever.
I think it could be argued that the most unique car to come out of the 50s, there's some serious contenders, but I think an Edsel, and especially a 58, is probably, if you ask the general non-car public what's the oddest car or most unique in the 50s, I think people would say Edsels immediately.
Yeah, certainly fits the odd category, and an Edsel, and especially the station wagon, you know, is right up there in the top of that category.
What's the power plant on it?
It's a 361. It's a first of the FE series that Ford made, and they use that basically the same motor from 58 up to 76, I guess was the last year. See a lot of those in the Ford pickups, and like I say, that's all Ford running gear, and that's what makes it so easy to get parts to keep it on the road, other than a few of the oddball parts like the teletouch transmission.
That's where I was headed. That is such a unique feature on these things. Does it work properly, and how long does it take to get used to?
Well, actually, that was one of the reasons that I was able to get the car was the owner didn't know how to fix it and couldn't find a shop that would fix it. So we hunted around swap meets and that and found all the old original manuals and that, and went to Portland Transmission Warehouse there and got the parts. Rebuilt the transmission myself, and it's worked fine ever since.
When you're at car shows, what kind of reaction do you get from people?
Well, mostly, you know, they look at it and remember the wagons that they've owned and their family outings and that, and so that's kind of what I was after, and kind of gratifying to see that people actually remember the time that the whole family was together and went out camping.
What a bonding experience to be in an Edsel station wagon as a family.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, Dan, thank you very much for being on the Vintage Vehicle Show. We really appreciate it, and I do like your car. Lou Becker, this is a beautiful 1939 Ford, and in a moment I'll tell you why in some people's eyes 39s are cooler than 40s. I mean, you already know, but anyway, tell us a little bit about this car.
Okay, well, I purchased it back in 74 and started the restoration about 77 and probably completed it, or mostly completed by about 83, 84.
And you kept it all stock.
And I kept it all stock, right, yeah.
Why? I mean, that's a great choice, but most guys that got their hands on something like this, it'd have a 350 small block in it, a 4.9 inch, and all the rest of the stuff. What made you stay stock on it?
Well, just because I wanted something to remind me of high school, I guess, more than anything else. So I just wanted to keep it basically Ford and stock. Yeah.
And the color, this is a stock color, right?
It's a stock color. Ford called it Cloud Mist Gray, even though it appears to be green.
I'm a little bit fearful of confusing the viewers, but this has always been a little bit of a mystery to me, how between 39 and 40 there seemed to be such a variation of headlight configurations and grille configurations, whether it was a deluxe or whatever. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, well, this is the last year that they had a bulb for a headlight. 40 went to a sealed beam headlight. As far as appearance goes, the 39 Deluxe and the 40 Ford Standard are very similar. The front fenders are interchangeable. I could put a 40 Standard grille in this thing. It would fit. And that 39 was the last year for floor shift. The 40s went to a column. 39 was the first year for hydraulic brakes.
On this, the secret that I was referring to, and you just mentioned it, the floor shift is really cool because it's original, and then I love the fact that these have no wing windows.
Right. They had an accessory, kind of a wing window that you could purchase aftermarket, but these windows for ventilation, they basically, when you started to crank on them, they would roll back a little bit to create kind of a vent window, and then they'd proceed on down as you rolled it down farther, yeah.
Powertrain on this, you got a flathead in there, of course, so which one do you have?
It's the 85 horse, 221 cubic inch, and it's a stock flathead in there.
Is it true that it runs hot? The flatheads are famous for that.
I've got 170 thermostats in there, and unless the temperature is up around 90 degrees, I don't have any problems. If it's a 90-degree day, it might get up to about 180 or so.
Lou, thank you very much for being on the Vintage Vehicle Show. This is an absolutely beautiful car.
Thank you very much.
What a great time we've had here in Port Orchard, Washington at the Cruz Car Show. A big thank you goes out to the Saints Car Club and to John KINCL for putting this all together for us. And a big thank you goes to you. We wouldn't have a show if you weren't watching every week and hopefully enjoying the show. So until next time, we'll see you then. Bye-bye.